For the State House of Assembly were arrested by the DSS when they attempted to investigate certain issues relating that may lead to the impeachment of the state governor. I believe that is, as members of the press, you are quite aware of that. My association had a meeting, which we call a governing body meeting, where we sit down, analyze, look at the provisions of the law, argue among ourselves, and come to a conclusion whether an issue is legal or not legal. And we came to the conclusion that that arrest was illegal, and we issued an ultimatum to the DSS to release the principal officers of the Zamfara State House of Assembly. And we are so happy that was complied with. They were released. And several other activities. But what we have done recently is we followed with keen interest the investigation that is being carried out by a 7-man committee of the Kano State House of Assembly, which was investigating the authenticity or otherwise of the video clips released by your colleague in the name of Jafar. We followed the issue and had our governing board meeting, analyzed the provisions of the law, and we came to the conclusion and understanding that a state or national legislative house do not have the power to conduct such investigation. And having convinced ourselves with that, we wrote a letter dated 24th of October 2018, on which we called the House to stop the investigation. And in the letter, we gave the House 48 hours ultimatum to stop all its proceedings. Otherwise, we will not hesitate in taking the House to court. We served the House the letter on the 24th, duly acknowledged. I personally served the House myself, and since then, the House did not in any way stop its activities. We gave the House benefit of doubt that we issued the letter on the 24th, and they were supposed to meet with Jafar on the 25th. So we gave them a kind of benefit of doubt that we have not served them earlier, so they may not be able to stop Jafar from coming on the 25th. But having followed what had happened after his coming, we last week heard that the House had invited the governor of Kano to also appear before it for his own version of the story. We felt that the House did not heed to our advice. We believe it is a house of lawmakers. We believe it is a house that has a legal department. We believe the House could have called its legal team to advise the House on whether or not our letter is of substance and is something that can be listened to. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. We had expected also maybe the House to call upon us to expatiate, or rather to explain more on the contents of that letter as a law-making body, as a body that is expected to make laws, and those laws must be respected. We felt probably they could call us, even though it's not one of the terms of our letters. We expected them to call and maybe ask for further explanation and for them to decide whether or not we are on the right track or not. So, having understood that the House is bent towards concluding the investigation, having invited the state governor, having decided and slated Tuesday, that is tomorrow, the 6th of November, as a date when they would watch the video clips, we felt there is need for us to save our nascent democracy. We felt we need to file a legal action for the interpretation of sections 128 and 129, which we assume the House is working on for the purpose of this investigation, because we are quite aware that nobody has submitted any petition against His Excellency the Executive Governor of Kano State that he has committed A or B, so he should be investigated by the House. There is nothing like that. We know it's not an impeachment process that could be governed by section 188 of the Constitution. So our assumption is that the House is working under section 128 and 129. So we have filed what is called originating summons before the High Court this morning. We engaged the services of a legal practitioner, and we went to court this morning. We attached to the process what we call affidavit of urgency. We explained to the court that this matter needs to be listened to as a matter of urgency, because tomorrow has been slated for watching the video. We don't know what would come out of that, and if we allow that, it will be a continued breach of our Constitution. So we filed the action, and we were in court, and our lawyer was in court, and upon hearing the application made by our lawyer, the court gave what is called an interim injunction in our favor, restraining both parties. Or rather, please let me mention the parties. We are the plaintiff. My name was used as the plaintiff, Muhammad Zubair, as the National Coordinator for Lawyers for Sustainable Democracy in Nigeria. And the defendants were the Kano Assembly, Honorable Bappa Babadan Agundi, who is chairing the 7-man committee, and the Attorney General of the state. These are the defendants. And we sought for an interim injunction for now, that the court should restrain the House from further conducting anything in respect of this matter until our motion on notice is heard. And the court has granted that. The application was granted. I will give you the copy of the order. It's called an order for interim injunction. Upon carefully run through the ex parte application dated 5th day of November 2018, you will get the copy of the order. The court said, and after hearing Mr. Nurai Nijimo with him, the application is hereby granted in the following manner. One, that we should serve the respondents, that is the State Assembly, Bappa Babadan Agundi and the Attorney General, before the close of business today. And Alhamdulillah, I'm happy to tell you that we have served all the 3 parties. The second condition is that the parties should maintain status quo ante pending the hearing of the motion on notice. That is to say, status quo ante, not only status quo. Status quo means as at now, but it means status quo ante. That is to say, before the release of the video clips, what was the situation? There was no 7-man investigation panel. So that's what the court has said. That should be maintained pending the hearing of the motion on notice. And the case had been adjourned to Monday, next week Monday, 12th November 2018 for hearing. That is to say, the House is to respond to the processes and make their arguments, and will go back to court by Monday next week because of the urgency, and the court wanted to do justice to the case. We are not obtaining an interim injunction and then just go and lie down and forget about it. No. The court said we should come back next week and argue our motion on notice. So, gentlemen of the press, this is what we have obtained.